Get ready to fly into mystery literally. You might think kites are all about kids' birthday parties and breezy fun, but what if I told you these flying wonders hold secrets of ancient civilizations? In the scorching deserts of Israel, Egypt, and Jordan, archaeologists have been scratching their heads over low stone walls that crisscross the sandy dunes like an otherworldly grid. Discovered by adventurous pilots back in the early 1900s, these enigmatic formations have left everyone wondering, what on earth were they used for? Get ready for a mind-blowing history lesson. Scientists have been buzzing about ancient kites. These 40-mile-long aerial masterpieces date back to 300 BC, but what were they really used for? Well, a fresh study has shed some light on this mystery, and it's wild. Apparently, these kites weren't just for show. They were part of an ingenious hunting strategy where hunters would steer animals into tiny pits. Talk about efficient. This discovery shows us that our ancestors had a better understanding of local wildlife behavior than we thought, making them seriously skilled hunters. Get ready to howl with amazement. Deep in Peru, archaeologists stumbled upon a forever secret of the Cherubia culture, which was actually way ahead of its time when it comes to pet care. They unearthed an extraordinary ancient cemetery holding 43 special souls. Yes, you guessed it, dogs that were more than just man's best friend. They were essential herding partners for llamas back in the day. Here's the jaw-dropping part: these furry friends weren't just buried anywhere, but had their own cozy plots right next to their owners. And to top it all off, they were laid to rest with a little something extra, treats and blankets, proving that even 1,000 years ago, our canine companions held a special place in people's hearts. Get ready for a jaw-dropping discovery. In an ancient desert, perfectly preserved dog remains have caught scientists' attention. These ancient pups bear an uncanny resemblance to the modern Cherubia shepherd, sending shockwaves in the research world as they now aim to uncover a surprising genetic connection between past and present. But let's switch gears to one of history's greatest whodunits, the enigmatic death of Egypt's teenage pharaoh King Tut. His mysterious mummy has long fascinated us, and we're about to dive into what might have sealed his fate forever. Buckle up, history detectives. The mystery surrounding King Tut's tomb just got a whole lot hotter. Talk about a royal scandal. When Howard Carter unearthed this ancient Egyptian wonderland back in 22, people were hooked on tales of a spooky curse. But it turns out the real puzzle pieces might just be as dramatic as any ghost story. We know the boy king met his untimely demise, likely from an infection or a brutal chariot crash, but that's not all. His mummy was in some seriously weird shape when Carter stumbled upon it. So, did King Tut really go out in a blaze of fire? Let's dig deeper to uncover the truth behind this ancient enigma. Imagine King Tut's grand finale going out in a blaze of glory, literally. It's believed that after his elaborate mummification process, the air got to his linen wrappings saturated with embalming oils. They ignited with oxygen, triggering a chain reaction that turned up the heat to a scorching 390 degrees Fahrenheit. Experts think this fiery finale was partly due to a hasty burial and some not-so-skilled embalming skills. Here's a fresh twist, buckle up, because things just got even more intriguing. Right after that lavish but hasty royal burial, another mind-blowing mystery started to unravel. It's like uncovering a second story within the same ancient book. Could it be possible that King Tut's tomb was actually constructed for someone else entirely? And if so, who were these other mysterious souls buried alongside the boy king? We're not done yet, because just when we thought things couldn't get weirder, let's talk about hobbits. Get ready for a real-life adventure straight out of Middle-earth. Scientists didn't stumble upon a magical realm like the Shire, but they did unearth an ancient secret that would make J.R.R. Tolkien proud. The remains of Homo floresiensis, affectionately known as the Hobbit. Meet LB1, a remarkable 3.5-foot-tall adult female, estimated to be around 30 years old when she passed on. Initially, researchers thought her miniature size could be linked to microcephalia, a condition causing unusually small head and body size. But further analysis revealed that this tiny treasure was something entirely unique in the human family tree. But here's the twist. As more hobbit-sized skeletons turned up, scientists realized that these weren't just tiny humans, they formed a distinct species. The big question still lingering is exactly where do these little guys fit on our human family tree? Imagine walking into a lavish mansion back in the day, but instead of fancy art and furniture, you'd spot exotic animals roaming around as status symbols. A fascinating cemetery dig has uncovered some wild pets. We're talking 2 elephants, a bunch of baboons, and even a hippo. But it wasn't all playdates and treats for these furry friends. Some of the baboon and hippo skeletons showed signs of broken bones. However, they managed to heal, indicating their mishaps likely happened during capture or when being restrained. Talk about an uncomfortable vet visit. Fast forward to the fossil record and you'll notice something pretty wild. These ancient bones are almost immaculate. This means they've had zero chance of damage or destruction over thousands of years, which can only happen when they're safely tucked away from harm's way, essentially living their best lives in captivity. Now that we've cracked this bone of contention, let's dive into another mind-blowing mystery: the Sengzing civilization's abrupt disappearance. Get ready for a blast from the past. Imagine stumbling upon a secret treasure trove in rural China, just like our anonymous ditch digger did back in 29. What started as a routine repair turned into an archaeological jackpot. Fast forward to 1986, and you've got 2 more hidden pits filled with ancient treasures. We're talking jade so sharp it's practically glinting, elephant tusks that'll make you roar, and bronze sculptures that are simply breathtaking. But who were these master craftsmen? It's a mystery solved. Meet the Sanshuangdi folks, an enigmatic civilization that vanished around 3,000 to 2,800 years ago, leaving behind a legacy of pure awesomeness. The Sanshuangdi's mysterious disappearance from their fortified riverbank city has long been a puzzle for archaeologists. With treasures and secrets buried everywhere, it was no surprise that theories started to flood in, or should I say, flood out like the Minjiang River after spring rains. What if, researchers wondered, the Sanshuangdi didn't exactly leave, but were instead forced to abandon their home due to a catastrophic event? Could massive flooding, triggered by a landslide or an earthquake, have threatened their very survival and led them to seal away their history before making a hasty exit? This compelling hypothesis was put forward in 2014 at the American Geophysical Union meeting in San Francisco, sending shockwaves of excitement through the archaeological community. Buckle up, history detectives. We've got some mind-blowing finds to share with you. Let's start by rewinding time almost 34,000 years back to Sungyur, a site near Moscow where hunter-gatherers buried not 1, but 2 teenage boys who sadly passed away at about ages 10 and 12. When archaeologists uncovered their graves, they were astonished to discover that both teens had disabilities, sending shockwaves through our understanding of the past and leaving us wondering, what was life like for these prehistoric youth? Get ready for some mind-blowing archaeology. 2 kids were laid to rest like royalty, with thousands of ivory beads, sharp fox teeth, fancy armbands, and even giant mammoth spears. It's like they were the ancient Swedish version of pop stars. But here's the thing, not all adults in this culture got buried with such bling. Some graves were super plain, while others had just a few treasures. Meanwhile, in another part of Sweden, around the same time, there was an unusual discovery. A person, likely an adult, died inside their own home, and they weren't even given a proper burial. What's behind these puzzling differences? Fasten your seats, history detectives. As if one chilling skeleton wasn't enough, archaeologists uncovered multiple more, a grim revelation that points to brutal circumstances. The remains of 26 people now lie before us, their silent stories only broken by the clues they left behind: a half-devoured fish on the table, precious coins scattered about, and glints of forgotten jewelry. This treasure trove of evidence hints at a shocking truth. The attack was swift and merciless, leaving its victims no time to prepare or defend themselves. But here's the kicker: the motive behind this equine extravaganza still puzzles historians. In 1964, archaeologists uncovered an astonishing secret in ancient China: hundreds of meticulously arranged horse remains buried in a single tomb. This extravagance didn't go unnoticed. It was clear that the owner of this lavish burial site held immense power and status within their society. But what drove them to make such an extraordinary sacrifice? Get ready for another mind-blowing discovery. As archaeologists dug deeper into the ancient sacrificial pit linked to Duke Jing of Qi, they uncovered more clues about an epic burial ritual. And we're not just talking about any ordinary ceremony here. The horse remains found were part of a massive sacrifice made in honor of this historical figure, shedding light on the army's size during the pre-Qun period. But that's not all. Similar digs have led to incredible finds worldwide, like the enigmatic Atacama skeleton. Was it a tiny human or something more extraterrestrial? Get ready for a major myth-busting moment. You might have heard whispers that this ancient skeleton belonged to an extraterrestrial being, especially with its surprisingly low bone density similar to that of a 6-year-old. But buckle up, because the real scoop is out. Scientists have finally cracked Ada's genetic code and confirmed that she was, in fact, a human being, not an alien invader. What's more fascinating is her ancestral background. It appears Ada had deep roots among indigenous Chileans, with some European influences making their way into her DNA. Get ready for a DNA detective story. Researchers dug deep into the genetic code of this ancient individual, uncovering 7 unique genetic twists that controlled growth. And one of them might be linked to those extraordinary bone features we've been talking about. But here's the puzzle: they can't pinpoint which specific gene was responsible for her unusual skeletal structure.